This podcast is part of the Big Heads Media Podcast Network. For more great podcasts, head over to bigheadsmedia.com. Hi there, folks, and welcome to TV Tuners? No, it's live-action Space Cowboy.
TV Tuners live action.
A deep dive into the live-action Cowboy Bebop program, brought to you by us Space Cowboys over at TV Tuners.
Brought to you by Netflix.
Yes, brought to you by the welcoming hands of Netflix as well. I'm your host, Swanson. With me, as always, is my co-host and lady who's been poorly adapted in this version, Stairmaster.
No, my name isn't Stairmaster until episode 8 of this, since it's owned by Netflix now.
Oh, what's your name for the time being?
Gerald.
Okay, so we'll see you become a Stairmaster.
Yeah, that's right, fucknuts. You shit-gobbling ass hat.
Yeah, this is how you talk in the show that I loved. So I'm glad to see you faithfully adapted here. With us, as always, is our other co-host and detective who is sleeping with my wife, Keo Rain.
That happened.
That's what you say when you're nut.
That's what every Marvel character says if they were having sex. They do not.
They come now? They come now.
Yeah, I like the characters they added to this. They really added a lot.
It gave a lot of depth to a show that was lacking it, obviously, in the original version. Widely hailed as an anime that just needed more nuance.
That left everyone hanging.
Yeah. At the end, everyone was wondering, what's the deal with Jet's family? Could we get more? What if he was a deadbeat dad?
What if he had to get a special toy for Christmas?
It's like that one movie that we all love, Predator.
Yeah. What's the guy's name? Sinbad.
Yeah.
And Sinbad. He became governor.
Sinbad Ventura.
And he said some homophobic things at the start of the film.
Yeah. But it's okay now, McMahon. So yeah, welcome to the show. Our first foray after a long time waiting, I think, for some people. Particularly the person who bought these coffees for us, J Pop.
Yeah, like back in December.
People were actually talking about this.
Yeah, we've waited long enough now that no one is talking about this but us. The TV Tuners
Zero interest in this episode.
And we've got a lot to say.
That's true. But before we get into it, of course, you might have some questions, maybe some quips, a comment, foresight, or otherwise. Well, you could do that by going over to our email address if you wanted to ask any of those things. You could email them to us, if that's a thing you wish upon yourself. We'll read it aloud on the podcast. That email address is tvtunerspodcast@gmail.com. What's that email, Keo?
tvtunerspodcast@gmail.com.
That's right. You could be like Geo, who sent us this email.
What?
The side left unturned. Y'all know when you're making freezer junk food in the oven, and the instructions are like, cook a bit, then flip, then keep cooking. Y'all actually come back to flip that shit, or just let it ride? I don't know. I don't know who got time to flip 20 fucking chicken nuggets, but it ain't me. Yeah, I have to agree with Geo here. I'm not flipping anything.
That's some serious bullshit.
I don't know how you listen. I don't know how you motherfuckers think like ovens work. Okay, but it's pretty good at cooking all around.
You know what's crazy is when they tell you to stir the item so it doesn't explode or be partially frozen and partially hot.
Yes, that's actually the most egregious, I think.
Yeah, fuck making me have to do work. This is supposed to be lazy boy food.
Yeah, this is why I bought some frozen garbage.
Yeah, and don't get like if any of you physicists are out there trying to tell me like, oh well, they can't help it. It's just how it is. No, it's not okay. They need to figure it out, solve it.
Yeah, fuck you and your Stephen Hawking's pedophile bullshit.
Yeah, what do you think they're feeding this stuff to astronauts? No, they found ways. Give me everything.
You know what?
Freeze
You know what else
dried.
is bullshit? Having to put the cheese in the Easy Mac.
And why isn't it already in there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what we should get is if you buy like the frozen meal, it's actually just a voucher for like a guy to bring it to you within 10 minutes of you calling in.
This is the future. And then you could give a star review when it's done.
Yeah. Based on the food itself and not on him or his like earliness or tardiness in terms of giving you the food. But the review
I think we should be able to rate the guy, and if he gets enough 1-star ratings, well, there's some consequences.
Yeah.
We'll say.
Let's just say some feeling is lost in limbs.
And by which I mean we will make him into the next meal.
One way or another. Yes, that's a good future we've made
I think
up.
we answered the question.
I think we thoroughly answered the question for Geo here, which is that do we just flip it or let it ride? And we're letting it ride so hard that we're creating our own dystopia.
And I don't care if some of it is burnt and some of it is frozen. I am not flipping or stirring or... I'm not touching it until it's out of the microwave.
Yeah.
At that point, I'll happily burn my mouth on it or break my teeth on a frozen chunk of it. I don't care.
Yeah. These are this is the world that we live in, where you're trying to instruct me on something easy. If I was worried about whether or not this was going to be good, I would actually cook it myself.
How dare you talk to me, food package? Yours is a crumpled bit of fake paper, and I am a divine being.
You know, one time a package had the nerve to tell me to put the thing on medium.
How the fuck is it going to know how strong your microwave's medium is? There's
I
no
don't
fucking...
know.
The UN does not set a standard.
Medium? What am I, a fucking chump?
I want the food to come out hot out of the microwave.
That's why I put it on high for hot.
That's why I put a few spoons in there to collect extra heat.
Yeah, the sparking generates more energy inside the microwave. It's thermodynamics, liberals.
And liberals are the one putting this stuff on food packages. We all know.
Not only liberals, but liberal eggheads.
It's true. They're like,
look, you guys all see. You guys all see him right now. He's got like the thick framed glasses. He's got like the pins sticking out of his white button-up shirt.
He's on MSNBC.
Trying to explain how they can't help it. That it's just physics. And you know what? You know what I have to say about these eggheads?
Give it to him, Keo. What?
I think that they should all lose their job, and we should. You know what we should do? Yeah, they should be killed, and then we should replace them with ordinary Americans.
That's right.
Red-blooded,
just Joe the plumber types.
Yeah,
I
get
think
him
we should
in there.
let the Pope pick their replacements.
Yeah, and we should excommunicate the eggheads.
Yeah, there you go.
Which means they go to hell, right? That's what that means.
Eggs communicate them. Anyway, thank you for that email, Gio. I think we've thoroughly answered your question in perhaps the most astute way we could. I think that's actually the most we've ever answered Gio's question.
I think we're pretty thorough, actually. We just kind of keep going.
That's what I mean. That's the most answer we've ever given.
Like the most, out of the percentage of the time we spent talking, more of it was the answer to his question.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, that's not the only way you can talk to us or reach us. We have a Twitter that we go to for when you go there that you can find at TV Tuners. It's full of great TV content. It's mostly a vehicle to find tweets of the week. Stare, do we have one this week?
Okay, this tweet of the week comes from Honeybag, or Ben Gotherit, a.k.a. Honey, who writes, "We were all just horny bags of electric meat. How did we fuck up being horny electric meat so badly that we have to know what dialectical materialism is?"
What's dialectical materialism?
Well, dialectical is like the idea that you can break things down into their thesis and counter-thesis.
Okay.
And materialism is like using that to study the world and the political process from the material conditions.
So I don't know what that is, even though you explained it to me, and I don't have to know what it is, so this person's wrong. Tune out.
Okay.
Well, Keo did just spend a lot of time ragging on eggheads. This guy sounds like an egghead.
Woman.
This individual
is an egghead.
True, because she knows what dialectical materialism.
I'm torn on this because I do agree that we are all horny bags of electric meat. Electric Meat, by the way, a great name for a band. So, tune out?
Tune out.
I don't read book. I don't pick up book. I don't touch book.
I look at book on shelf. That's where I put book.
Well, yeah, because book is just like a display, like the cover's the important thing. And if you have more book around you, then the eggheads respect you. And they don't talk to you.
They're like ooh.
They don't look down at you anymore. They talk to you like, hey, how you doing?
They're like, if you don't have any book.
If you don't have any book, they're like explaining things real slowly to you.
They're like, book is reading. You're like, I know what book is. And they're like, well, I didn't know because you don't have book.
Yeah. They're like, if you don't drink any water, you will die.
True.
And I'm over here sipping on my 40 ounce.
Yeah, which you can't subsist off of permanently, Swanson, just so you know.
I'm going to try.
It's 40 ounces. Eventually it's going to run out.
It'll take a while. Like half a day.
I guess you're taking like real slow sips, but it's like there's a finite amount of liquid in your
Keo, you're sounding like a real egghead right about now.
Yeah.
I'm being an egghead for you. That's what I'm doing. I'm making fun of them.
You're acting like I don't have book.
Speaking of Eggmans, did you see the new Spider-Man film?
Like the whole thing? Like, did I watch the whole movie? Like the whole thing?
Yeah,
No.
That's typically what people mean when they ask you if you saw the Spider-Man film.
No,
I only heard that it's a thing, and it has more than one Spider-Man.
Yeah, they should have titled it Spider-Mans.
Yes, correct. Is this something that you're going to discuss when I ask you in 2 seconds what we watched?
Oh, I thought we weren't doing that.
No, we're doing that the same amount of time and the same point in the show when we normally do it.
Okay, I'm sorry. Well,
right now, what'd you watch there?
I watched Spider-Mans.
And how was it? A lot of Spider-Mans?
It was 2.5 hours long.
Okay, 2.5 hours of gold or 2.5 hours of like no Spider-Man.
Oh, there's like no Spider-Man for like the first 20 minutes, I suppose.
Who's there?
I mean, Spider-Man is swinging.
Ooh,
okay.
So I guess there is Spider-Man. Okay, William Dafoe is there, but he's only like got 15 minutes of screen time because there's like 6 other villains.
That's a tragedy.
What's up with Spider-Man movies and putting like a lot of villains?
What's up with movies?
I don't know. I'm not really sure exactly what a movie is for exactly.
And also, the two other Spider-Mans don't show up until the third act.
Yeah, that's no good.
So they were just there to sell the movie?
Pretty much.
Yeah, it seems like... It's almost as if all of these people were here because they weren't confident in being able to just tell a Spider-Man story.
Yeah.
I have not watched the film. I was aware of... there was a TikTok meme going around that was allegedly the original audio from a recording in a theater of when... Spoiler, Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man saves Zendaya's version of MJ.
Yeah.
And, like, it's the audience being like, whoa, whoa, whoa!
What, are they ghosts?
No, they're all just like, yeah, whoa, yeah!
Yeah.
As he's, like, sitting there, like, crying because he saved a version of his girlfriend that he did not save.
Yeah.
Before. And, the only reason I remember this is because there was a version of it that took that audio and then placed it for the live-action movie of Garfield, for when Garfield falls into a truck of lasagna. And it's just him landing into a big truck of lasagna, and the lasagna goes all over the place, and the crowd's just going, whoa, yeah!
Wait, the truck of lasagna is exposed to the air from the top?
I hold on. I gotta find the video to make us all see this, because it was pretty good. But also, the version that I recall in my head might be funnier than the actual version, which is that the lasagna, like, it flies off from the top of the truck.
It's funny you say that because I watched Batman Returns last night, where Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman falls into a truck of cat litter.
I do recall this.
Yeah, that movie's fucking horny. And, like, in a pent-up way. I mean, in the sense that all the characters are not getting it. And they're barely containing their rage.
Why can't they let him have it a bit?
No, they can't. Especially not Batman.
Why not?
Because he's a martyr for society.
Let him be happy.
No.
Let him be happy. Let him smile.
He had to give it up for the world.
Oh, come on.
Okay, I have found it. And I will now share it with you. I wasn't exactly correct in my recollection. I'll have either you or Kyo expand on what I mean by this when you see this video.
Okay, hurry up.
Oh my god, that cat is falling so far. He's gonna die even if it is lasagna. Oh, okay. Okay, so there's boxes of lasagna in the truck.
Yeah, there's boxes. But also, the audience reaction is a lot better than I make it sound.
Oh! There's a guy right next to the microphone.
So
who is having the time of his life.
Garfield has certainly reached terminal velocity here.
Because he busts through this metal hood of this van.
He's a very large cat.
Well, if you watch Amazon's Reacher, you'd know that the top of the truck is thin because there's no weight on it.
So I guess that is the easiest. It is a good way to break his fall, but not him.
Yeah.
No, he would be surely killed by that fall.
I think the lasagna would, like, solidify upon impact. I don't think you can compress lasagna since it's water composed.
So it isn't so much that the hood is open; it's that the camera is pointed down at a bunch of boxes of lasagna as he falls into them, and they go flying upward.
Also, this is uncooked lasagna. I'm not sure Garfield's going to appreciate that.
But I think the part that really seals it for me is the audience reaction is way better than my version, which is this is how it is really in my in rewatching this. It's a guy who's like, I guess the guy recording most likely, but he's going like, whoa, let's go, let's go Brandon.
And they're still cheering as it just shows the outside of the truck.
Yes.
Stationary.
Well, yeah, it's the big reveal, of course, is that it's a lasagna truck. Anyway, that's what my recollection of the Spider-Man movie.
Oh, I've already forgotten the movie. Tune out.
Doesn't he, like, cure villainism or something?
Yeah, he gives, like, gay conversion therapy to all of his bad guys.
Excuse me?
He also gives it to Sandman, even though Sandman isn't even evil.
It's Sandman's already good by the end of the movie.
Yeah, it's a Sam Raimi one.
That's strange. So tune out?
Yeah, tune out. It's a bad movie.
That movie. No good. I also watch UA Bowl's Rampage.
Not a video game adaptation.
No. It's a film that posits what if a mass shooting was epic.
Epic?
Epic.
Define with
like
expand on that.
Like he blows up an entire police station and mows down a crowded street with twin submachine guns.
And they're playing like Doom music during this?
Yeah, pretty much.
How do you feel about this?
I was kind of bewildered.
Okay, sounds bewildering. How would you have felt if it was Michael Douglas doing it?
Better movie, I would reckon.
Okay. So it's just this guy shooting people for 2 hours?
Yeah, he said some crap about the planet being overpopulated.
Okay, a regular Thanos, I see. Only his Infinity Stones are guns and guns.
I don't even think he really means it. He's like a dead-end millennial like us.
Yeah.
If Thanos came to my house and he wanted to come in and have an ice cream cone with me, I'd probably tell him no.
What if he, like, showed you an ice cream cone and there was, like, 2 scoops on it and he said, perfectly balanced?
Oh, I would say come in.
Yeah.
I was asking if we could share it together.
And if they said no, you'd open fire with a machine gun?
Yeah, hopefully that could kill Thanos. Would that...
No. You would need a lot of pounds of TNT.
Imagine, like, a scene in Infinity War where, like, Thanos finally shows up on Earth, and he's like, here I am, I'm here on Earth. I've come for the one thing I've been looking for. Guns. And he just takes all the guns on Earth.
I think that, like, he would... I don't think the Avengers would be able to stop him.
Yeah, he's got, like, all the guns. He's just, like,
just imagine Iron Man comes at him and he just blows his head open with a Glock pistol.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. He said, should have brought gun.
Just imagine that's how a fight ends in an Avenger movie.
Just a point blank shot in the face to a beloved character.
That'd be very interesting.
It's not explained how the bullet worked on him. Like he's just dead and they're moving.
Well,
on.
He had his helmet off because they always have their fucking helmets off at some point in the movie.
Oh, that would be good then. That would be like a shocking good event.
Yeah, Thanos would be like.
I mean, like he shoots him with his helmet on, he just dies.
Yeah. And Thanos says that's why I always aim for the head, and like winks at the audience.
Would there be a little sparkle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He shoots Iron Man and like blood gets all over Captain America and Thor and they look at each other and Thor just says, that happened.
They believe it? No.
They bleed now. So yeah, that's a tune out, I guess, on Rampage.
Yeah.
Okay, go watch the movie with The Rock instead.
I suppose.
The actual adaptation of a video game. Anything else?
I watched Assault on Wall Street, directed by Uwe Boll.
Is this like Rampage but Wall Street?
What if a mass shooting was based?
Oh, okay, so...
What's going on with you, Stair?
I don't know. No, what's going on with Uwe Boll?
That's the real question, right? Because he wrote 2 mass shooting movies.
No, he made 4 because he made 2 sequels to Rampage.
How much shooting can one man do?
Well, Rampage 3's subtitle is President Down.
Okay. At least Joel Schumacher only made Falling Down in terms of like mass shooting movies that he's a part of. So this is not related to the Rampage films. I guess a film series.
No, this is just about a poor guy who's down on his luck after the financial crisis. Makes his wife kill herself.
Uh-huh.
So he just guns down an entire office of Wall Street guys who took his money. And also Keith David is in it for some reason.
So how about this Wall Street one? Is it any better than Rampage there?
No, not really.
Okay.
Is it just like business guys getting shot up?
Yeah, nobody really puts up a fight. He gets shot by one security guard in the arm, and that's it.
Yeah. It's a message, you know? That's what Wall Street's like. No one's going to put up a fight if you just show up with a loaded weapon.
And the police are going to be like, You're shooting Wall Street guys? Get those eggheads.
Yeah, they're going to be like, we don't defend Wall Street.
We don't defend Capitol.
We certainly don't value it over human lives. And that would be the actual reason we would be fighting you. Alright. Anything else?
I don't know. There's a lot of things I watched since it's been like 4 years since we did another of these segments.
Well, anything pertinent that you like really want to talk about?
Not really. Oh, I watched Cyborg, starring Jean-Claude Van Damme.
This is another future movie that he's in?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just want to say, if the title is misleading. He is not a cyborg.
Is there a cyborg in the movie?
Yeah. That's the lady character who has the cure to the plague in her brain.
So he has sex with a cyborg?
No, she gets kidnapped like within the first 5 minutes of the film. And he has sex with someone else.
Good replacement.
All right. That sounds good to hit for him. Good luck.
Yeah, this is like the peak B movie, I think. I don't think... Like, it's got everything. It's got Jean-Claude Van Damme being crucified and then Hurricane kicking his way off the cross.
Dang, why didn't Jesus ever do that?
Why doesn't JCVD get to do a Jesus film?
Jesus Christ Van Damme.
Yeah, Jesus should have just pretty much just said no to the whole thing and said that like he's not doing any of that, not dying for any sins, and just broke off the cross.
Yeah. Imagine Jean-Claude Van Damme being like, "Forgive them, Father, they know not what they've done."
Yeah.
And then like he starts kicking ass.
He's not going to forgive them.
Yeah, that's why he's asking his dad to do it. He's like, "Listen, forgive them, because I'm about to unload a can."
Yeah, I would enjoy that. I would watch it for 20 minutes.
Then turn it off and never watch it again.
Yep.
So that's a tune in on
whatever.
Cyborg. It's a good one.
Yes, it's a good one.
Okay.
There are 0 rapes in this one.
Oh, that's good.
That's what I'm looking for most of the time in movies. More often than not, I'd say. About like 100% of the time, probably.
I would temper that. I would say more like 99.9% of the time.
Yeah, there's that 0.1% where you're like, maybe I'll watch this movie. I watched two things that were sort of bad for for different reasons. First, I'll talk about the bad TV show that I watched, latest in a string of them for me. This one was called Jennifer Slept Here. And in terms of bad TV shows that I've watched, it's actually not awful. It's okay. I could have seen it lasting like 2 seasons. Instead, it lasted 1. It's about a family moves into a house where years ago an actress passed away after being, according to the Wikipedia, run over by after chasing an ice cream truck. This home was where she stayed, and her ghost resides in the room that becomes home to our teenage protagonist, Joey Elliott. Joey Elliott. It's the way he pronounces it. And so she's a ghost, and she's gonna teach him lessons about life, I guess.
Are they gonna fuck?
That's the strange thing, right? You'd think they would try and steer away from that, given that it's a ghost of a woman who is definitely an adult and a teenage kid.
No, that's cool in our society.
It is the 80s when this comes out, so true. I think the most interesting thing about this show is that it has a really banging theme song.
Okay, give us an impression of it right now.
Alright, it's like,
use your mouth.
I just met the most beautiful ghost in the world.
Alright, I like that. Well, what are the instruments like?
There's like there's like a guitar in the background. There's some drums.
Like an acoustic guitar?
No, it's electric, baby. And hold on, let me just find it here. You guys gotta see it to believe it, I think.
No, I believe you.
The show never explains also why if this was like a willing thing. It makes it seem like she wants to be haunting this boy. But if you're a ghost, why would you choose a teenage boy to haunt, regardless of your preferences and gender? I think we all know what teenage boys are like. We all got an idea. I don't think I want to be haunting a teenage boy. Some sick shit. There's an episode where the lady from the exorcist from Poltergeist shows up and tries to exorcise the ghost from the house and puts her in a bottle.
Oh, that's fucked up. That's the ultimate.
And then Joey's like, "Look at you, you're in a bottle now." And she's like, "Get me out of here." And he's like, "No. I like it that you're in a bottle for some reason."
Oh, that's creepy.
Oh, no. That lady's in for a rough night.
And then she gets out of the bottle.
We've got a My Little Pony situation here.
Anyway, yeah, it's in terms of bad shows, it's not bad. It's not awful. I would like watch 2 episodes of it and be like, then forget all about it. The next thing I watched was Santo and the Treasure of Dracula. Now, I watched this because the latest revival of Mystery Science Theater 3000 has kicked off for people who backed their Kickstarter campaign. And this was the first episode. And as for the movie itself, it's like the perfect MST3K movie. The plot makes 0 sense. The main character is Santo, a Mexican luchador who was perhaps the most famous luchador in Mexico from like the 50s into like the 80s. And he starred in like a ton of films. This one involves him being a scientist who has discovered how to use time travel to put people in like previous versions of their ancestors' bodies. And by doing this, he encounters that Dracula was roaming around, I guess, back in that day. And at some point, there's treasure involved because that's in the title. And also because he's a wrestler, Santo does get challenged to a wrestling match by a bad guy and does wrestle them.
But does he wrestle Dracula?
No, he does not wrestle Dracula.
What's the fucking point then?
Dracula is shockingly ineffective in this movie.
Dracula's supposed to be pretty tough.
Yeah, Dracula gets staked early in the movie, and then stays that way until like the last 20 minutes.
How could they possibly do this?
So, on its own, the movie would probably be pretty terrible, but it has a lot of fun, riffs going on and all that. The core of the MST3K experience, of course, good riffs. It's fun. It was an unfinished episode because it's the whole thing isn't actually up and running for people who weren't Kickstarters yet, but it looks good. Looks pretty solid. This is like this new version of MST3K is completely independent, which I guess fits the vibe more than just being on Netflix. And the jokes are a lot less quick than they were on the Netflix version, which is appreciative because it was very fast paced. Like Netflix gave them notes that were like, tell more jokes.
The same notes we get.
Yeah, often. Also, the first third of the movie, Santo is watching a TV.
Oh, so it's like a Marlon Brando situation.
It really is, because he's sort of just sitting there watching the events from the past play out on a TV. Occasionally it cuts back to like him talking about like, whoa, there's Dracula. There's also a bit where someone writes down the name Alucard, puts it up against a mirror, and then suspenseful music plays.
That was the scariest shit back then.
But yeah, it's pretty good. It's like that moment is probably the funniest next to Dracula shows up right after that, and the guy's like in front of a mirror, and he's like, hey, wait a minute. And this is a very fun, like, English dub translation of something where he's like, this mirror reflects everything. He's like, but you're not there. And Dracula gets pissed and just throws something at the mirror and breaks it. And they just carry on like nothing happened.
This mirror reflects everything.
This mirror reflects everything.
It's a really funny movie. Like the perfect first episode for a new MST3K. It was good. Tune in.
Swanson had a good time. That makes me angry.
Well, I'm about to have a bad time because now I have nothing left to talk about. And I presume
what did you watch this week, Keo? What have you watched lately?
I've been watching nothing.
Not even Cowboy Bebop?
Not even Mobile Suit Gundam? 008?
I watched Cowboy Bebop.
Cowboy Bebop? I also watched Cowboy Bebop.
Hey, I watched Cowboy Bebop. I guess it's time for us to talk about it. So,
we've been stalling long enough, I guess.
There's no more time to waste. Now we have. Now you know the rest of the story. So we watched the first episode of Cowboy Bebop titled Cowboy Gospel. From November 19th of 2021, of course, when the series debuted. So we're getting there right on time. So the future is now, guys. We're in the year 2171, just like in the show. And they're on a little casino. There's a casino heist going on.
Yeah, this is the shittiest casino. This is like one of those strip mall.
Yeah, it's also a casino
machine.
that's like not busy.
Yeah, there's no windows either, despite this being like a giant floating casino in space.
Yeah, you would show off that it's in space if you were a casino, right? You'd be like, here we are in space.
No, the establishing shot needs to not show that.
Well, yeah, you need to show at the end that this is what this looks like with a bunch of blobs of CGI.
And also, there's like only 4 people here besides the criminals.
Yes. Yeah, so we get introduced to all these criminals. They're all like, "Whoa, we're criminals, man."
And there's this guy.
We live in a society.
There's this guy who's like, Hello, it is me. I'm angry and I'm making social commentary.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
So let's unpack this for a second. So this guy has a valid gripe, I would say. And I guess in the show, I guess the original show has this vibe to it too, but the our people are sort of just, I think the way this is couched is that we're supposed to be like, yeah, this guy's a piece of shit. Not because he's taking people hostage, but because his values are wrong.
Oh, because he's a whiny millennial.
Yeah, because he's whining about it. You don't see Spike whining, even though he definitely does.
I don't know why this has to be a social justice warrior. Why can't these people just be in it for the money?
Yeah, why can't they just say, like, we got screwed out of money, so now we're here for it?
No, let's say we want money. Not even the screwed out part.
Yeah, also, why is this guy giving us a life story?
To poor people.
Listen,
and
you're all my
friends.
hostages, so I think I owe you a tale about my experiences.
This casino that only sees 20 visitors a day, apparently. And it's the
I
size
hate
of the
the
Empire State Building.
Hate the corporations. They're yeah. It was just kind of was the opposite of subtle.
Unsubtle.
Yeah.
Obvious.
And I mean, the original program, Cowboy Bebop, the one that this show is based off of, if anyone wasn't aware of that.
Not to be confused with Cowboy Bebop, which we're talking about right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a different show. It was an animated program produced in Japan, I think.
That's correct.
Well, there's so many countries. Who knows?
So many countries, and I don't know which one's which, but the original show clearly had some kind of social commentary going on. It's pretty unavoidable, but you didn't need to have a character blather on about it in the first 5 minutes, because you can get the point just by watching the show.
Yeah. So Spike shows up, and they do some recreations.
Yeah, Spike comes down in an elevator, listening to music.
Yeah.
On his headphones, which I don't think he did in the show.
No, this is a direct recreation of the movie.
Oh, right.
In the movie, he walks into the grocery
store
that's being robbed, listening to headphones. It's a much cooler scene because,
yes,
one, it's a grocery store that makes sense for it to be being robbed. I mean, a casino could get robbed, but like,
not that easily.
Not this easily.
Yeah, it would be going to the counting room where all the money's stored.
Yeah, there's a reason that we have heist films all about robbing casinos, because it takes 2 fucking hours to rob a casino.
And you don't do it if you're super incompetent.
How are these guys going to get their money? Well, they weren't talking to anyone. They were just screaming.
Yeah.
They were like waiting. They were waiting for some kind of computer thing to happen.
Yeah, there was like a hacker guy who was like getting into the money. So yeah, Spike shows up, and we get there's a lot of like direct callbacks to that scene from the movie, which is a great scene. It's like
he throws a coin at someone to instigate this fight.
Yeah, and there's like it's like a slow-mo, like he kicks the coin, it goes flying into someone's head, and then they start fighting.
Like it sinks in like
this is very bad.
That they made this live action when I think most of the joy that I got out of Cowboy Bebop was watching the beautifully animated action sequences.
As these are not beautifully choreographed.
Well, also, even if they were beautifully choreographed, there's no way you're going to recreate the fluid motion that Spike moves in an animated way.
Oh,
you have to change the way he fights, which they try to do, but not really.
The choreography was okay, but it's just
awful.
My favorite part of this fight, by the way, is how horrible the sequence where Jet crashes through the roof is.
My favorite part of how horrible it is every time Spike's actor does a move, the camera cuts to a different shot and he does another move and then it cuts again.
Which indicates that, there's not a whole lot.
Rehearsing.
Yes. Do we want to talk about Jet's look?
Jet's fine, I suppose.
You don't think his facial hair looks extremely fake?
Everything in the show looks extremely fake.
I guess that's true.
That's the problem.
They're faithful. They're being very faithful to the way the characters look in the show.
This looks like I just hit start on a PlayStation 1 game. I'm getting a little movie before the gameplay starts.
So we get this fight scene here where Jet's like, "Hey, listen, we're not gonna kill anybody. We're bringing them in alive." And then he kills someone, and Spike's like, "Well, hey."
He accidentally touches a lady's breasts.
Yeah, there's
very slowly.
Kind of an anime moment.
It is kind of, but it feels like because
it just feels cringe.
Yeah. And eventually, what happens? A hole gets blown in the space station.
They beat up everyone but the loud guy, and then the boss comes in with the energy rifle.
No,
they call it a disruptor.
Which fine, you can just add like little sci-fi stuff like that. Sure, whatever, it's fine.
That's kind of part of the charm of Cowboy Bebop is that humanity is advanced, but they're still murdering each other with regular ass firearms.
True, it is just sort of
mostly
one dude does use a sword.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's got this weapon which they shouldn't have brought. They had no reason to bring it.
But yeah, what were they going to use that for?
To hold the whole ship hostage or something? I don't know.
Listen, if we don't get our money right now, which our guy is getting, we're going to blow up this ship with this disruptor. It's going to disrupt things.
And they explain to him, like, you can't shoot that in here. He's like, oh, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And then Spike gets mad that he's called a cop.
Accurate. I'd also be mad if I was called a cop.
So he shoots him in the head.
The entire scene between the two of them is a direct, like straight up. Spike is saying the exact same lines that he says in that grocery store scene. Because like at some point one of the guys holds a lady hostage, and he's like, "You fucking cowboys!" He said, "I'm gonna kill this lady." He's like, "Huh. Well, I don't really care because I get my money either way, so you can blow that lady's brains out if you want."
But they also have some Joss Whedon clips about her being unattractive, having no sexual utility.
The Whedonisms in this are out of fucking control. Did he get like a secret credit? Did they hire him to do some writing?
Or was it that she was old?
It was that she was old, but I think that's the implication.
He said she's old and she's lived a long life.
She does ask if she has kids.
Yeah,
I don't know if it was really that sexist. I think it was just ageist.
There's I wrote down a couple lines of Whedonism from this, which is actually I think it's just one because the other one is one that I want to save for another discussion. But at some point, I think a little bit later, I think Jet quips, "Then we have cupcakes."
No. It was a random guy. It was the guy at the bar.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Yeah. It's during a scene with who's this guy's name? Asimov, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. They're doing a deal, and the one guy, because everybody has to be fun and quippy. That's just how these shows work. It makes you really relate to these characters. Because in the real world, when you have a serious drug deal going down, you make some quips.
Yeah, we're jumping ahead, but this is a shot-for-shot remake of the scene from the original Bebop, this drug scene, but they added quips in.
That's what I mean. The Whedonisms are ridiculous in this. Which I guess...
In the original, this is like a cool bartender guy with like a Dick Van Dyke mustache or something.
Right. It's
just like, you got the stuff.
If we subscribe to the theory that part of the charm of Cowboy Bebop is the vibes...
Yeah.
Then this show has the vibes completely wrong.
Yeah, I don't understand the concept of taking a show and then like trying to remake it like scene for scene, but then just kind of screwing it up here and there,
especially
on
an
purpose.
animated show. That's like that's the problem right there. You cannot just straight adapt this show. If you were gonna do a live action adaptation of Cowboy Bebop, 1, you shouldn't. But 2, if you were going to, and there was nothing that was gonna stop you, you just have to make your own version of it. You can't just recreate stuff from the anime because it's not gonna be anywhere close.
It's even worse when people make direct comparisons.
Yeah.
And when you make changes to it that don't improve it, like I can just see it right now. They were like, audiences these days need to start with some crazy action. That's why we need to put the scene from the movie at the beginning of the show instead of having it start with the mood of the actual show, which was kind of moody and foreboding.
And also, this we have to have it be in a casino because it's a big open space. We could do a lot of funny stuff with it. What if like Spike almost gets thrown out into the wild of space and dies? That'd be fun.
Which would work better if we could see the space before then.
Yeah, because it zooms out only after the problem has been resolved.
I guess it's supposed to be a plot twist that they're in space.
I don't know. The way it's framed does make it sort of seem like it's a plot twist. Like, ooh, guess what?
We're in space.
This is they're in space in this one. Get that.
I mean, we know it's space the moment he says you can't shoot that in here. It's like, oh, that's...
Oh, that could be under the ocean.
Yeah. There's some unique
that would have been an actual
Cowboy
twist,
Bebop.
though.
Yeah.
It zooms out as C-Lab 2020. Uh-oh.
And the captain's reacting to it.
Yeah. You can't fire that in here. So yeah, there's they manage to avoid being thrown into space. They get this one guy, but everyone else is dead. And then off to the intro, which is, I guess, the perfect distillation of this show, because it is literally just a 1-for-1 copy.
It looks like a fan film.
It looks bad.
That's the problem. That's the problem.
That's the best way I can describe it. It's like they tried to make it look like... I don't get the point of it, and they just interspersed it with like these goofy looking clips from later on in the show as well.
Well, you're trying to make it look like the actual anime opening. Again, this is something that I'm gonna keep pointing at. The animation is fluid in Cowboy Bebop through and through, and especially in the opening intro. Spike is running around, jumping, picking things up, putting stuff down. Guns are going off. People are kicking, fighting. Planes are flying around. You can't get all of that in live action in the same way that you can in an animated show. And so just trying to recreate it is not going to be good.
I mean, very importantly, also, it was entirely or almost entirely in silhouette or monochrome. Like it was highly stylized, but they decided to just kind of stick in some just regular old footage in there as well.
Yeah, they put a TikTok filter over it.
It would be like if the new Batman movie tried to recreate the animated opening.
Oh God,
it wouldn't work.
I mean, the Joss Whedon Justice League sort of, with that opening scene with Batman awkwardly chasing the guy around.
Oh, yeah. And that also looked awful. So yeah, we cut back.
We see the insane clown super soldier in this intro, by the way.
Yeah, I guess
he's
and I guess we're gonna look forward to seeing him down the line.
Like, what the fuck are they gonna do to make that a 45-minute episode?
Yeah.
Well, it's something to do with this episode. They just made the action sequence just take forever at the end.
Yeah. It's funny. They have twice the amount of time that the original episode had in telling this story, and they made it worse.
They didn't need twice the time.
Yeah, it turns out...
Well, they decided that they needed to introduce characters that didn't really have a role in the story.
Yeah, true. More on that in a little bit. But yeah, so we... So, I gotta talk about this fucking Rose. Was I the only one that thought this was, like, some of the cheapest looking shit I've ever seen in my life. This flashback sequence that he's having, where like a rose is like heading towards the screen, but it looks like it's being propped up by like 5 pieces of string.
It looks like a guy's off screen holding it.
Yes, it looks like they're like turning it in like a roller from 7-Eleven.
Yeah, it's just being microwaved.
Yes, like it looks like they're just filming
a hot dog
rose
on the counter.
Yeah,
it would have been a lot easier to animate the rose, I think.
Yeah. And
I wonder what this show would have been like if it was animated. That would be crazy.
It's wild to think about. I wonder if there's an animated version of the show, it could be good. I bet. So yes.
There's this weird tension between Spike and Jet that didn't exist in the original program.
At least not right off the bat.
Like, at least they respected each other professionally in the original Bebop.
Yeah. And
there seemed
Jet
to be
is
a little bit of camaraderie. Even if
I don't mind either actor in this. I think in terms of portrayals, they're doing the best that they can. They have some interesting ideas of what to do with Jet in this.
Yeah,
this one. So Jet has a thing going on in this one, where he wants to talk about how he's got to get his daughter a toy for her birthday.
Yeah, he's sort of like Bosch now.
Interesting. Yeah, he's sort of a Bosch-like figure. And we even get a scene later where he's talking to a guy he used to work with, I take it.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of Jet backstory in this, and my question is, do we need that?
I mean, we had an episode about Jet backstory.
Yeah, and it was cool. It was real cool. It wasn't anything like this.
It was only 22 minutes.
Yeah. So, before we get there, of course, we get introduced to the guy who showed up in the first episode of the animated version, Asimov. He's,
Yeah.
That's right.
He's dealing drugs.
Yeah.
His name is Asimov.
Asimov and his girlfriend, Katrina, who, we see them in this bar. They're talking to this lady, this bartender, who is, she's a comedy character, really, when you think about it. She's a real funny lady.
She's wacky.
And they're having an open door meeting in the back of the bar, as you do when you're selling drugs, so that everyone can sort of just look and see. You guys ever do that? Just have a meeting in the back where you can talk loud enough for everyone to hear you in the bar.
When I'm dealing drugs, of course.
And then also,
I need people to know about it.
When someone asks you to show them the drugs and make sure they work, you do it personally.
Oh yeah, that was also in the original.
That was in the original, yeah.
No, I know, but then also you make sure that you piss the guy off. After you...
Well, that's the thing. In the original, he does the red eye, and then the triad guys come in and start shooting.
Yeah.
There's no dialogue. He just cut to murder.
Yeah, the red eye in this is not as fun, right?
Oh, it's pathetic compared to the original.
Because they try to show you the whole sequence. Well, in the original, it's kind of cut like a horror film where you don't get all the pictures or details.
I remember watching the first episode of Cowboy Bebop as like a, 12-year-old maybe?
Yeah.
I don't remember. I think that's right. Maybe way younger, actually. Because 2001 was when it came out in the States?
I think I was also like 8 when I watched Cowboy Bebop.
I think I was like 9 or 10. And I think I watched this and I was like horrified.
I was like, damn, I'm glad I'm not in this situation.
I remember being like, because it's like midnight, and you're watching this scene, and you're like, what the, huh? And you're just a kid.
There are bullets everywhere. I don't want to be anywhere near this.
Yeah.
There was the moment where like they shoot at his head, and the bullet's like right next to his face.
Yeah.
And it cuts, and he's okay. It's like, how do you do that? That's insane.
Yeah, in this, it's just like they put a nice little filter on. They found another TikTok filter. They put it on there,
and he's just punching guys.
Him just punching dudes is like music plays.
They don't convey like the extreme rush and
because in the original, it's like a John Woo film. There's like thousands of bullets flying everywhere. Like, Katarina's ducked behind the counter, like she's pinned down by a machine gun.
Yeah.
Or so it feels like.
In this one, he just, like, roids out and punches a guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she's like, hey, whoa, what are you doing? You're punching that dude. And he's like, you're right. Let's go. Also, in the original, they're Syndicate guys, too, aren't they?
Yes.
Yeah, so that part still tracks, but
unexplained gamesters, but probably it was a Syndicate.
I don't recall, I didn't rewatch any of the original Cowboy Bebop for this.
I looked at the real pertinent scenes for discussion.
There's nothing about Spike being like, oh, these are Syndicate guys, I don't want to get involved.
No, he did not say that at all. There's no concern about the Syndicate, even if those are Syndicate guys.
Yeah, he's just like, these guys are kind of getting away, let's just get this job done real quick.
Yeah. Yeah, in this, we have to have Spike being like, hey, man, I said we don't get involved with the Syndicate, dude. And Jet's like, I don't know what your problem is. Guys. Jet has a line, we're skipping ahead just so I can say this line, because I think it encapsulates the problem with Jet in this, where Spike is like, listen, I don't want to do this. And Jet's like, you don't want my daughter to have a birthday? What the fuck? Something that neither of them would ever say to the other person in the actual show, even if Jet had a daughter in the original show.
Yeah, Spike practically has a death wish in the original program. This one he's just like, I'm scared.
And Jet's like a guy who just does not reveal things about himself, ever.
Jet's just tired in the original.
Yeah, when they get to this, when they finally get to Jet's backstory in the show, Spike's like, huh? Like, it comes out of, it doesn't, like, it doesn't come up before then, because Jet has no reason to reveal that info.
It's like, wow, that's crazy. Anyways, back to Minecraft.
Yeah. So, we get some Jet backstory here, which is Jet's going in to turn in the bounty. He doesn't get the amount that he wanted because they fucking destroyed an entire casino. He ends up talking to this officer that he used to work with. I don't remember. Chalmers, I think, is the officer's name.
Chalmers, yeah, the guy's fucking Jet's wife.
Yes, Jet is a cuck, I guess, and because he literally there's just a line of Chalmers being like, yeah, well, you can really stick it to him. And he's like, I thought that's what you were doing to my wife. And it's like, oh, come on, Jet.
Why would they do this?
Why would they do this? Look how they massacred my boy. So, also the dude's fucking named Chalmers. Is Jet gonna make him a steamed ham?
Yeah.
That would be a good episode.
Yeah. He makes him and his wife a steamed ham. Enjoy this while you're having sex with my wife.
This is the agenda Netflix is pushing on us.
So they would miss the entire point of both Cowboy Bebop and steamed hams.
Yeah.
Where they think they just make it, he cooks him a meal. And that's it.
A live-action Cowboy Bebop contained entirely inside your kitchen? Can I see it? No.
No.
So yeah, he has this scene with this Chalmers guy, and he's like, "All right, thanks for that." He gives him the tip on Asimov.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to make of this. So it cuts to Spike, and he's like training with what do they call those? The little dolls.
The wooden man.
Yeah, the wooden man dolls. But it looks less like he's training and more like he's practicing lovemaking techniques with this doll.
Yeah, in the original, he's doing Bruce Lee Jet Jeet Kune Do in low gravity. Shirtless.
He looks real cool. He's like, he's getting a real workout. He looks extremely skilled.
In this, he's like moving his hands around slowly around this wooden doll, like he's like getting in the mood.
Joe's almost 50. And he probably doesn't have the gifted genetics that Keanu Reeves does that lets him do John Wick stuff.
Well, no, of course not. Don't you remember he broke his leg when filming this show?
Oh,
and
yeah,
they had to take time off.
Fuck yeah!
He literally broke his body for this show, and this is the result. Like, I feel bad for him. He obviously put a lot of time and effort into this, and the rest of the rest of the show is not at his level.
Yeah, the casting's a mistake. He's a little bit too old for the role, I think.
You need someone who at least looks like they're 20, because Spike is supposed to be 20 or younger, I think.
No, he's like in his late 20s, early 30s, I think. Probably
it's anime, so it's hard to tell, because, like, anime characters will look like they're 30, and then they'll be like, I'm 5.
Yeah.
Like Jotaro.
Jotaro.
Who is, 23?
He's like 17.
Yeah, and he looks 30. Like a 30-year-old man.
He looks like Kenshiro.
So yeah, I think Spike's supposed to be
he's just
young,
like,
but
I have to go to high school right now.
I have to go to English class.
You do not know that my term paper is already written.
Can't forget my chocolate milk.
He's making some training on this. We get that rose slowly falling down again.
No, again, yeah.
Slowly rolling. I think it happens like 3 times in this episode that we see this rose. That's why I noticed how bad it looked.
We need to know all about this rose.
Yeah.
I'm curious about this rose. What's this rose? When are they going to bring back the rose?
A rose is what you are to me.
In the original version, he only has that flashback once in the first episode, right?
Yes.
He doesn't keep having it.
It's not lingered on. It's just kind of like...
He also doesn't have a conversation with Katrina where he's like, you remind me of somebody I once knew. He doesn't just spell it out for everybody in case they didn't pick up on it.
Okay, so one thing that... Probably one of the... an interesting change they made to the program was... In the original, Spike met with like this mystic who gave him like... I don't know... prophecy type thing.
Oh,
yeah,
yes.
That was a fortune tell. Yeah, he talks to a Native American at one point.
Yeah.
Native American shaman.
Yeah, and then in this one, he just like talks to people, like looking for the guy.
Yeah, he's just talking to folks, and he's like, "You see this person? You see this one? Huh?" This is like the closest that the show gets to actually being fun for me, which is like still a far cry from it, but at least I was like not actively sighing.
He talks to the guys with the goggles, asks him if he sees anything.
Yeah.
He's like, not since Earth! And he takes them off, and his eyes are just burnt shut.
Yeah, that was kind of fun.
Yeah, I think this was probably, I don't know, probably one of the better changes to the program. It made it seem more like he had to... He didn't do anything impressive, though. He just walked around acting to people. It seemed like he was at least putting work into it rather than doing some kind of like magic something.
Well, because he just sort of falls into meeting them, which he does here too as well, but he does sort of just fall into meeting them in the original. Because he's like, I don't remember very well, but doesn't he like run into Katrina when asking about Asimov, and she's like,
yeah,
she sees his photo or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After they've already sort of hit it off.
Right. So in this, he just sort of walks up to this lady and they're talking, and he's like, "You remind me of somebody. Have I told you that I'm focused on women because of my past?"
But that's the thing. In the original, they make it real subtle there's a connection, because the mystic tells him like, you underestimate women. He's like, actually no, you don't know what you're talking about. Goodbye.
He's like, actually, if anything, I overestimate.
I over-respect women.
I respect women so much that I feel I'm inferior to them.
I respect women so much that I have nothing but self-pity for myself.
I only respect women.
I don't respect myself or other men.
Especially not Jet. Hey.
What'd you say? So,
And just to be safe, I don't respect Ed either.
Yeah. Was this, there was a scene I wanted to say that I did actually sort of enjoy, but I can't remember if it was just a direct adaptation or not. When Jet is in transit, and he's talking with the guy, and he's like, I'm going to take a piss, does that count too? And the guy's like, we already deducted. That seems like a line that they might have just stolen, but then I also enjoy him having to fiddle with the window.
Yeah, that was the best scene of this episode, I think.
It was the best scene. And that was not in the original, I don't think. It was, it was storytelling without people expositing, so that was good. It was showing that their ship was, kind of junky.
I think the fact that I think it could have been in the original is a good sign, because that means that they were capable for a single minute of this 50-minute program.
Yeah, well, the original episode 1 from Bebop, the original, had that scene where Spike is complaining about how they've had nothing but bell peppers to eat for the past couple of days. And that sort of shows that they're down on their luck financially.
Yeah. Yeah, so Spike encounters Katrina. They hit it off, and he's like, yeah, I'm just,
well, you're just like me, for real.
Yeah. And then Faye comes on the scene because you got to get everybody together in this first episode. Which I guess bravo for Netflix for actually just putting everyone together in the first episode. Even though for once I would actually say don't.
Yeah, because in the original Bebop, Faye doesn't show up until like episode 3.
Yeah, they debut the dog before they debut her.
She didn't really have anything to do with this story either.
No.
Yeah, and she really gets in the way of this plot.
The way that they introduce the characters in Bebop is important because then it gives each of them time to be their own character. It's not like here's the entire cast all at once. Like, you get introduced to Spike and Jet in the first episode, then they introduce a dog in the second one, and you get more of the dynamic between them because Jet's like, yeah, this dog's cool, we should probably keep him.
Meanwhile, Spike is like, no.
Yeah. It's like, bad idea. And then you introduce Faye, who throws off that dynamic now that you've got 2 episodes to know what it's like.
Yeah.
And then
no, they had to bring Faye in. They're like, listen, we need her in here. We need to spice this up. We need to change it a little bit by making it worse.
What if we brought Faye in here, but she just did nothing but quips the entire time? Just weird insults that we thought up. So she shows up.
She helps a little bit later on, but that's it.
Barely.
She barely does anything cool, actually. It's definitely not like when she's introduced just lighting up an entire bar in the original. So yeah, she shows up in this. She has a gun at the back of Spike, and she's like, I'm here to take this lady back to her dad. And he's like, oh, she's like rich. And he's like, yeah. He's like, oh boy, that's no good. And then they start fighting, and Katrina runs away. Asimov actually, so a bullet goes flying into the hospital where Asimov is getting stitched up. Pretty weak sauce, by the way. You got to go hold a nurse hostage to get stitched up. Stitch yourself up.
She's using some kind of high-tech cauterizing laser or something.
Yeah. And a bullet flies through there, and he's like, huh? Bullet? And he looks outside, and he's like,
that?
Whoa. My girl's being accosted by some people with guns. I better get out there quick. He comes out, and they drive away as Faye and Spike are fighting. And what happens here? That he knocks Faye unconscious or something, right?
I don't remember.
All I remember is that
point,
Faye ends up in the bathroom of the Bebop.
They did that in the original Bebop.
Yeah,
just not at this point in the story, which is just distracting at this point.
Yes. And yeah, she's in the bathroom or whatever, and Jet's like, hey Spike, who's this? And Spike's like...
He's like, I don't know. I don't care. I just put her here for some reason that I can't explain.
Yeah.
I needed to collect a woman.
I do recall this action scene being, like, very, very bad.
This one comes up where the...
Well, the only part where they seem to have been trying was the very first one. After that point, it's just like taking a very long time for nothing to happen.
How many more episodes of this do we got?
9.
Oh no.
Yeah. It's a horror show. So yeah, he shockingly this fight scene between Faye and Spike not the worst in the episode. So Faye, they decide to keep Faye in the bathroom while they go and take care of this Asimov guy. They determine that they're trying to get off world, I think, based off of Spike's interaction with them. Also, the detective work is just worse in this than in the first episode, in the actual original episode.
Well, they don't show the detective work as much in the original. They let your mind fill the gap.
They don't really show it at all. He just kind of is where he needs to be at the right time.
You gotta assume that they're good at their job, or they just be not doing it.
Yes. And so they take out their whole... I think we see... oh no, that's a little bit later. Never mind. So yeah, we get this fucking awful action sequence where they're at this like flight school or like this like airship garage. I don't know what you want to call it.
Yeah, in the original Bebop, Spike is fighting Asimov like on the side of the street.
Yeah,
that's cool because Spike is just like weaving out of the way of his punches despite him doing red eye.
Yeah, it's very cool. And this, Asimov is just like beating him up.
And then the fight gets broken up by the guys coming in their planes, shooting at him, and Asimov and Katrina flee. Here we have to have this whole thing about Spike fighting the Triad guys.
Well, yeah, because we have to have one Triad guy be like, "Whoa, you're
Spopovich."
And I thought you were dead!
Yeah, and Spike's like, well, I guess you are now, man. And he kills him. And, yeah, this whole sequence is really dumb because, one, it's just two people standing in two positions shooting each other. It's a group of syndicate guys who show up. They don't fan out at all. They sit there in the exact position and fire. And it's Spike, Jet, like Faye off in the distance, and Asimov all firing from their portion, right next to like the space the space jet. I don't know what you want to call it. The plane. And
the show completely lost me in this stretch of it. It was just like it became almost unwatchable. Just like there was no. The camera kept jumping around for one thing, which always is just... It was very disorienting.
The fight
for no reason.
The fight layout for this doesn't make any sense either, which is what I'm getting at. But
there's no impact to it. It's just like, oh, this guy died. Oh, there's people getting shot. It's like, okay, yeah.
Yeah, we do get the part from the original where Katrina gets shot in the stomach, and it's revealed that she's been carrying all of the vials of red eye, which means nothing in this.
Oh, yeah, because in the original Bebop, she gets shot in the stomach, the vials fall out, and then she gets in the plane.
Right.
In this, it's like a 30-second slow-mo shot.
And it happens before the actual action scene kicks off, so by the time she gets in the plane, you've forgotten why she's in the plane, other than Asimov being dead.
In the original, she's not flying, Asimov is, and he's tripping balls. He's like strung out on space meth.
Yeah, and
she's sort of just reflecting that they're never going to make it to Mars. And how she's trapped.
Yeah, you don't get any of that in this, by the way. She says... I don't think she has a whole, like, monologue in the first one, doesn't she?
In the original?
Yeah. Or she has,
I think all she just says is, we're never going to get to Mars now.
The original also... managed to make a better connection between these two characters in Spike and the girl, I forgot her name, within 20 minutes. And this show had like 40 minutes and managed to do a worse job at it.
Yeah.
Well, because there's a lot of extra stuff between the scenes of them hanging out.
You gotta know that Jet needs to get his daughter a doll.
Well, they don't really even hang out. It's just like they're talking and he's like, you remind me of someone. Like, that's not a connection. That's just being creepy.
Yeah, well, with the one they talk in OG Bebop, there's a ton of chemistry, so that sort of makes up for it.
Yeah. Yeah, and this one, it's a 50-year-old man hitting on like a 20-year-old.
There's chemistry, and also like the scenario is just more amusing. Like, they bump into each other, and she drops all of her food, and he pretends to help her pick it up, but he's like secretly just taking all of it.
Yeah.
He has a whole hot dog stuffed in his mouth, which she notices, and she's like, "What's going on over there?" He's like, "Hot dog."
See, that would be funny. You could translate that to live action.
Yeah, but they don't.
See him shove a whole hot dog in his mouth.
That's like a "think you should leave" sketch right there.
I was told that we could swear.
That's what they told Faye.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like, so he also reveals that he pickpocketed a whole bunch of her stuff, but after she lets him keep the hot dog, he gives it back to her.
Yeah.
So it was kind of a cute
Spike's
moment.
a cool guy.
Yeah, they don't keep that at all.
No.
They don't do that. And, it's just kind of, it's really building his character really well because, like, he's
mischievous.
He's mischievous, but he's also like
Caring.
having fun on his job too. Like
he's a warm guy.
He's hunting them down, but also having some fun and also making a connection with them.
Yeah. So instead, what we get here is that when the action scene is done, Asimov is dying, and
he's not. Yeah.
Katrina
flies a plane into a blockade.
Yeah, and gets
commits suicide by cop.
Yeah.
As opposed to her being like a helpless passenger in the original.
Oh, yeah, yeah. She does it herself in this. And Spike is there to watch, just like in the original, but, like, there's nothing... It's devoid of all meaning. It's a heartbreaking scene in the original, and in this, it's just like, Spike is just watching it, and we're like, alright, yeah, that happened to you.
And also, her floating through space looks a lot more... This looks really shitty.
Yeah.
It looks like... Everything in this looks like a music video.
You're not wrong about that. That's actually a really good thought there, is that, yeah, like, especially the scene, like, of her... If you saw that clip of the rose in a music video, you would just be like, yeah, that tracks. Or like a lady floating in space. Like, that's in like a My Chemical Romance music video or something. That's like something out of there.
Like, this show just doesn't do shadows very much. Which is strange, because the original Bebop had a lot of realist art style to its aesthetic.
So, Spike and Jet are like, well, that's that, I guess. Another case solved, thanks to us. And
then they kiss.
Yeah. And then we get to, this ending is something.
Vicious.
So... How long does it take Vicious to show up in the original 5 episodes? Well, for one thing, it should be pointed out that Vicious is in a grand total of, like, 4 episodes out of 26.
He's like in 6 episodes. He's in the episode 5, and then there's the Jupiter Blues 2-parter.
And then he's in...
Which he's barely in the first one, but he shows up in the second one. And then there's of course, the 2-parter at the end.
Yeah, he's in a grand total of 6 episodes out of 26.
Yeah.
And this, he's a main cast member, along with Julia, who's even in even less episodes for a very important reason. And so we got to introduce both of them in this last scene here.
And that comes back to Swanson's thesis. Original Bebop was about the vibes. This is about telling a story in the prestige TV style format.
Yeah, because you got to tell a serialized story, so you can't just have a singular detective story be, or not even detective, just a singular sort of noir tale as your first episode. You have to have a little bit of that thread at the end. That way, hey, there's a reason to keep watching, not because the show's good.
Yeah, we can't have any vignettes here. We've got to just see like a continuous story. That's why you got to bring in Faye, episode 1, so she's involved in everything.
Even though we don't even get a resolution for why she would be joining these people, right?
Yeah.
I don't think they even talked to her again before the end of the episode.
They shouldn't have even been friends, like, at all.
No. She gets out and for some reason decides to help them.
Yeah, it's not good.
They haven't established any reason why they should be aligned at all. They have opposing goals.
Yeah. If anything, she should be mad because they fucked her out of money.
Fucked everything up. Yeah.
So, yeah. Also, because they have now botched 2 jobs, they actually look bad at their jobs. Something that never was really true in the original show.
Yeah, like, at worst, they looked unlucky.
Yes. Because, like, they were gonna catch... at the end of the first episode, from what I remember, of course, they were pretty close to getting Asimov. It's just that he was the one who ran away into fire from police. Then they couldn't do anything about that.
Yeah, he was, like, out in space tripping and flying all over the place. And... yeah,
because wasn't the whole point that Spike was chasing him to try and catch him?
Yeah.
Yeah, he successfully stopped a bunch of guys from getting him. Like, he intercepted a whole car full of the dudes and took them all out.
Yeah. And in this, he just, like, follows her into space to be like, don't do it. She's like, I'm gonna do it. And she does, and he's like, no. Another woman has died in front of me.
Think I'm gonna watch him die for 5 minutes and not go kill myself?
Yeah. I think I'm gonna go home and think about this rose for a little bit.
Spike goes home, he's just like, the cactus flower has bloomed.
Yeah. What do you think? Do you think Spike and Char would get along? My answer is no.
Spike would just be skeeved out by his vibes.
Yeah. I feel like Char would try to talk to him about space noids, and he'd be like, yeah, whatever, man.
I don't think he'd even respond. I think he'd just, like, quietly leave.
Spike would be like, what are you talking about? We're all space noids now. Did you know?
It's true. Cowboy Bebop is actually the ideal world that Char wanted. Except there's no, like... I guess there are some people who have some weird abilities, but... More on that later, maybe. So, yeah, we get to Vicious here. This guy comes in, and...
you can have Spike Spiegel talk to Char in Super Robot Wars T, I think.
Why is Spike Spiegel in Super Robot Wars?
I don't know.
That's like a game where, like, they take every single, like... I guess he's not in a robot, but, like, every single...
He's in the fighter. He's in the little cool plane.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's every single show or game that has, like, robots or space fighting in it.
Yeah.
And they just bring all the characters together.
That one was doing Zeta Gundam type stuff. And it culminates in Char's counterattack.
So you can have him talk?
Yeah, I think. I didn't beat it. I fuck with those games.
So, yeah, this guy comes back to Vicious, and Vicious is just standing in a room with a TV. Is that right?
Yeah.
He's staring at it.
He's standing in the architect room from The Matrix Reloaded.
Yes. So, yeah, this guy's like, I found him. I found Spike, but that's not what we call him. We call him something else, I guess. And Vicious is like, well, now you die. And then it cuts, and this guy's just, his neck is just slit. We don't even get to see it. Come on.
It's almost cool. Almost.
Almost. And then Vicious is like, I guess it's time for me to go find Spike. And
I guess it's time for the Cowboy Bebop.
I guess it's time for me to bebop on the cowboy.
I guess it's time for Cowboy Bebop at his computer.
And Vicious looks awful in this, by the way, I gotta say. Of all of the designs, his is by far the one that translates the least.
Well, yeah, they don't have the money to make him look good.
You need like $10,000 on hair.
Well, that's the thing. Vicious is like a ridiculous anime villain. You can't put that guy in a live action show without having to spend a couple bucks to make his hair not look dumb. And then he walks out to a car, and Julia's there. Although he does not name her, she is here, and he's like, "Looks like your friend's still alive. Not for long," or whatever. And that's the end of the episode. Like, it just they keep gradually revealing more and more worse things that they've come up with for this show. It's essentially like a Hellraiser program. They've got such sights to show me, and none of it's good.
I was pretty shocked that they decided like they were gonna make like Vicious just look like Snape with gray hair or something.
If Vicious had walked out and been like, "The boy who lived," it would have fit. So yeah, I don't know it's an interesting idea in that to have Vicious and Julia already be a thing. Makes me wonder how the situation turned out the way it did in the original show.
You know what's fucked up is that they have a white guy playing Vicious.
Yeah, isn't he supposed to be like Spike? Isn't he supposed to be Asian like Spike?
Spike is was modeled after Bob Dylan.
Yeah,
but it's ethnically ambiguous.
Yeah, every character in the show is supposed to be ethnically ambiguous except for Faye.
Yeah,
and there's a reason for that.
I think if you have a white-haired guy with a katana, you have to cast an Asian actor.
I think maybe that would have looked a little
I think your brain is
better.
sort of just trained to expect that sort of stuff.
I don't know. Yeah, that's the end of the episode. What are our thoughts?
Why?
I don't understand.
Who did this?
They need to get a guy who knows how to do lighting.
Yeah, they need to get a guy who knows how to do TV shows. That's my personal take.
I say that the lighting is one of the least offensive things about the show.
Yeah, everything else.
It gives everything this weird, unreal look. Like, if you're gonna have all the CGI backgrounds, you gotta light it properly. You gotta light the actors properly so they look like they're part of the CGI.
I never really felt like it had that kind of lighting effect. I think the lighting was mostly okay. Maybe there's some scenes you noticed that I didn't, but I didn't see anything glaring like that.
Well, if you think I'm dumb, you can hit us up at tvtunerspodcast@gmail.com.
Guys, I got bad news just by skimming some of the Wikipedia. Jet's quest for an expensive talking doll is a recurring plot point.
Oh, no.
Well, everything's got to be in this.
So, I mean, I'm going to give this first episode a tune out, even though we're coming back to it.
I'm also going to give it a tune out.
Because there's nothing here. The closest thing the show does to matching the vibe of Cowboy Bebop are two sequences that are maybe 2 minutes of the runtime together. Maybe 3, if I'm being generous.
There's not really a sense of melancholy in this show.
No,
nobody plays a harmonica at any point, I don't think.
They decided that they weren't going to keep that mood by switching the opening scene from the actual show with an exciting action sequence.
Right. Yeah, it's a lot of either poor choices that don't fit the tone of the show, either the show they want to make or the show that they are adapting. And I think in general, the rule for adaptation is that if you are going to try copy a lot of what is in the original, you have to match the vibe of the original. And if you're doing your own thing, you have to make a vibe that feels like it could be a version of the original, even if it's different. Does that make sense?
No.
I get what you're saying. Okay, so basically, you're saying
good.
don't have one of the characters make a joke about cupcakes.
Yeah, during a drug deal. Yeah, pretty much. Because it's not that Cowboy Bebop was devoid of humor. It's actually the opposite. It's just that it wasn't these random quips.
Spike gets into a bunch gets owned in a slapstick manner quite frequently.
Yes. Like, I can't see this show doing anything like the episode where there's a living thing in their fridge.
Oh, no.
Could you imagine that version in this?
Or the episode where they're all high on shrooms.
Yeah, I don't... I mean, obviously we're going to be back next week for more. That is our curse on live-action Space Cowboy. But hey, this was a Buy Me a Coffee episode. And if you have any episodes that you want to request, well, all you got to do is go over to buymeacoffee.com/TVTuners. A single coffee gives you a single episode to talk about. I believe Puff Pfeiffer just got us ones to watch 12 episodes of 90s Berserk. He said this is what Stairmaster wanted.
Watch the Berserk movie? The third Berserk movie?
He didn't specify what he wanted us to watch, so maybe you could get that there.
Oh, alright. Yeah, I guess I'll go after it.
But that's a way down the line, because of course we are stuck here in our purgatory of Cowboy Bebop for a bit. All that said, we'll be back next week with more space. Until then, keep bebopping. Bye. It's over.
You're gonna carry that weight.
Hey folks, it's time for the TV Tuners Fact of the Week. Did you know that Stairmaster is actually a corgi?